I'm continuing my look at the games of Wesley So, and this game was suggested by one of my patrons, David Kerr. Thank you very much. Really happy to oblige, because this is a sparkling, attacking game full of beautiful tactics and, yeah, absolutely route one towards Black's king. Don't forget to like, comment, share and subscribe, and do consider supporting us on Patreon or PayPal. Links down there in the video description. This was played when Wesley So was just 13 years old in an open tournament in Germany, and he actually scored his first Grandmaster norm at this tournament. And it shows that he instinctively is a great attacking player. In the elite tournaments over the last few years, he's played very steadily, but when the time comes, he can attack, as we'll see. So this is Wesley So with white against Michael Prusikin, who's a Grandmaster. It's a classical. I like the classical variation with black, I have to say. Let's see how Wesley deals with it. Bishop g5. Yeah, good continuation. e5. The knight drops back to d7. Here, the Alekhine-Chattard attack is still very dangerous, but Wesley took on e7 and played in the very classical way, playing f4, and just gets this nice central position. a6 is good because black wants to play c5 without allowing knight b5. It's an important move. Knight f3. And here the main move is c5 straight away. But instead Prusikin played b6. A little bit unusual, but it's played. It means that black is going to play c5, but can simply recapture with the pawn, which would give black a really wonderful centre. So queen d2, c5. So when the pawn isn't on b6, then taking on c5 is a decent move. But here this would give black a wonderful pawn centre, so you don't want to do that. Another move which really is not a good idea is castle's queenside. This is one of those typical traps actually in the French classical variation. Here you play c4. And this pawn storm with b5, b4 and, well, black's pieces, the knights flood out. It's really unpleasant for white. But Wesley was aware of what was going on, and he played the knight back to d1. Good move. So he's ready to support the centre with c3. And here I think probably the most flexible way for black to play is just to play bishop b7 and knight c6, with potentially the idea to castle queenside. But instead Prusikin played castle's kingside, c3. So this is the idea. Basically the knight clears out of the way, allowing the pawn to come to c3, and that just supports this lovely central structure. And now f6. Well, white wants to attack on the king side, that's clear, with this lovely spearhead on e5. So at some point black is going to have to react. But somehow this didn't turn out too well. Let's have a look. Bishop d3, a5. Of course, this bishop can play a key role in any kingside attack. So Prusikin spends a couple of tempi to play bishop a6. But somehow it does feel very slow, this a6 and b6 and a5. And, well, as we'll see, black suffers because his queenside development is very poor. And now, of course, it's possible just to bring this knight into play on one of these squares. But Wesley exchanges on f6, and I think this is a good move. Knowing when to release the tension like this is always a difficult question in chess, but here I think it's spot on. I think black's best move now is knight takes f6. But even after knight f2, followed by bringing the rook over to e1 That's already very uncomfortable pressure for black to deal with. But queen f6 played, and this leaves these knights in rather a gummy position, treading on each other's toes. And here, of course, again, it's possible to bring this knight out, but, well, Wesley went for the attack straight away, and it's an excellent move. Knight g5, attacking the h7 pawn. So if h6, then the knight will just hop in and fork queen and rook, winning material. And if the bishops are exchanged, and then queen f5, this also doesn't help, because the knight will hop in, attacking here, then the knight can hop in there, and you can see that basically white is the first to attack, has a good position. Therefore, after knight g5, black played g6. And now, definitely time to bring this one into the game. Knight e3. And this starts to set up some very uncomfortable threats on the king side. Those knights are looking so dangerous now. And that's why Prusikin played h5 to stop knight g4. But that does leave the king side very loose. I have to say, though, I think by this point, black's position is already extremely difficult. Rook e1, there we go. The forces are massing on the king side, and these pieces are just way out of the game. Even that knight on d7, you can see that basically it hasn't got a move, because all those squares are taken by other black pieces. All the pieces tread on each other's toes. Bishop takes bishop played. Queen takes bishop. And now black took on d4. If knight c6, then this is already a winning move. Rook e6, slicing through along the 6th rank, and something is going to drop. So it's black to play here. Pawn takes pawn. Now, how would you play here with white? Here is where Wesley embarks on a brilliant sacrificial attack. Knight takes pawn on e6. Right, let's just slow down for a moment. What can black play? Well, there's a couple of knights that can be taken. As Tal once said, you can only take one piece at a time, when he had lots of pieces on prees in the position. Well, in the game, queen takes knight on e6 was played. Let's just have a quick look at pawn takes knight on e3. Here we can take the rook. And actually white's initiative is just too strong in this position after this, and f5. Rook takes, followed by rook here, or yeah, possibly doubling on the e-file. I mean, it's just catastrophic, actually. So, queen takes e6 played. Now, the next move for white. Can you spot it? Another knight sacrifice. I like that. In consecutive moves. Knight takes e6 and now knight takes d5. Of course, this one is very easy to calculate. Here and then rook e7 and game over. So after knight takes, remember the queen is attacked, so it's step back to f7. Rook e7. Nasty. It's running out of squares. Queen f5. And now queen takes d4. Very calm. Threatening mate, of course. And, well, it's impossible to find a good defense. Knight f6. Okay, but, I mean, this one needed calculating, because it's not absolutely obvious how white should proceed from this position. Wesley found a very good move. Well, no doubt he found it a few moves before, that's the real skill. Not to improvise in this position, but actually to foresee what's going on. Rook e5, attacking the queen, which had to step back. And here's the subtle idea. Queen d3, how beautiful is that? So, obviously he wants to break through here. But there's also rook e7 to bear in mind, as well as knight e7 check as well. All these moves can come into play if black... Well, black has various alternatives here, but yeah, none of them are working. Knight takes d5. Queen takes g6 check. Queen g7. Of course, if king h8, then the rook sweeps across. So queen here, queen e6 check, queen f7. For the moment, black is defending, but here is again another really beautiful move. The checks aren't working for the time being, but queen h6 is a winning move, threatening rook g5. So queen f6, and now this just flushes the king out into the middle of the board, and then it's pretty easy to finish things off. Check. And rook takes d5. That was the final move of the game. Black resigned. Threat. Rook e1, among others, but that's the clearest threat. And if, say, queen e6, then we can just win the queen. Like that. Rook e5, and that really is game over. Wonderful attacking game. So instinctively, that's what Wesley likes to do. But he had to temper his aggression and his whole style in getting to the very top, or near to the very top. His best was number 2 in the world with a rating of 28-22. I think that was in 2017. Can he recapture that? Well, we'll only know when he starts to play classical chess again, when all this madness has lifted. But I look forward to that. Thanks for watching.